Alright, and we're back. I've been painting up here in my corner a little bit, and there's a couple things that I worked on, and then I left a little bit just because I wanted to let you guys see what was going on. The first of all is finding some areas where we have some horizontal information working across our grain. One spot that sticks out to me is right here, so I highlighted around that a little bit. And in the case of something like that, I would actually go back and make a fairly sharp line there as well. And do that with a couple different places. I know I saw a few others around here. Here's one up here. Really make this line small. Small but sharp. Why, you ask? Because it gives us areas that look like, rather than rot, like chunks were actually taken out of it, like a hammer or something like that, some sort of impact. We're just pushing those values. And here's the thing, if you're getting something like, man, they're so much darker or so much brighter than what Steve's doing, and it's going to look terrible. But don't worry about it, because we're doing it on this layer, which makes it non-destructive to everything we've done before. And if it's really crazy, you can always take that opacity down. And you should end up with something pretty darn nice. So the other thing that I wanted to show off was that there were occasionally places where things just spoke to me. And for this, I usually do start dark. But again, it's up to you. I look for spots that kind of stuck out to me coming off these edges or down in here. Here's one. We've kind of just got a line going on. I just made a pretty straight cut in it. And you can see I've done a few here. I left this one because this is a great way to do splits. So now I'll take my dodge tool, and once I have my cut, I'm going to highlight that edge just a little bit. So it looks like a very tight crack or a split in the wood. And if you do decide to add nails or bolts or anything like that when you're making a final texture, this works really good to help sell that. I'll come down here. That gives us some of our splits or scratches. We don't want it all just to be garbly rot, basically. We want some of this information to be pretty tight. There's a little bit going on there. I'm not even going to darken it. I'm just going to throw some highlight on that. No rhyme or reason to whether I darken it or throw highlight or ignore it. Here's a nice one that's it's got a little squiggle to it. I like that. I am actually going to darken that. It's really just the kind of way it speaks to you. That's all this is about. See, it kind of continues. I really like that. You can also see that wherever I find darker light, I'm not necessarily following that to the rule. I'm just kind of letting it talk to me. Letting it tell me, hey Steve, I'm a good crack right here. I'm a good hammer hit right over here. You see, we start to add in that light then. It really pops the depth. And then basically, you just do that everywhere, which I have not done. But when you back it up, you see that we've gone from, like I said earlier, this looks like garbage, All of a sudden we have some pretty nice detail going on this wood. Now, of course, we can always go in. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to go back to my brush. I'm going to find my brown. This one's set pretty high. Well, we'll see what happens. I think we'll leave it on normal. Give myself a little bit smaller brush. A little bit smaller. Okay, scattering's off. That's good. To start up here, I'm going to do the same thing I did to paint our big messy lines. I'm going to hold down, push shift, and then just pull it down. And then maybe here too. Or maybe I could hit the wrong thing. What did I do? Oh. Wacom tablet misstep. There we go. Pushing the wrong button without looking. And we'll just do this section here. Go on back to those values, and I'm going to bring that way down to our darker values. And again, I'm not picking an exact color. Just kind of winging it. Just looking at things. Trusting the eye. We'll do this again here. And just playing with value. It's all about value. All right, now that looks terrible, because we have all that nice texture and then just these kind of fuzzy lines. We can take the opacity down on a normal layer, which gives us a kind of paneling type look. We can try playing with a different blend mode. We could try multiply. No, that's going to be way too dark. Oh, I hit color burn. Multiply is still way too dark, though. We can try and overlay it. It kind of blows out our reds a little more than I'd like. We could try soft light. That's not too bad. That's getting kind of an orangey sunset color. But you get the idea. We can kind of just build this in. My personal preference is to just use normal. Lower that opacity a little bit. Try and let the other grain come through. And then if needs to be, I'll go back in and paint a little bit more of that detail in. I can always come in and, wow, that really kind of got lost behind there. But I can fix it. There are no mistakes. Just happy accidents. You can even accent your edge a little if you want. But think about what you're doing. I mean, like right now I'm painting on my overlay layer, and I'm painting it to match this layer above it. So if I decide I just want this base texture, then we're going to start to get some weird lines I may not have expected to have. So, like we talked about before, once you've got that base built, save that out as a base texture that you can build on for different things you need. But for the purposes of this, you'll at least get to see what's going on. We can come in here and tighten that edge up. It's subtle. It's not a lot. You can always build more on. So I try not to worry about it too much. You could also, if you wanted to, just paint with regular color. Lighten it and darken it a little bit. Paint right on that top layer to add in some edge. Add in some detail. All about the information. Information for the eye. Things for people to look at. So in fact, I could just go here and hold down my Alt key and sample some of this brighter area here. Just, that might be a bit much. I think that's going to be a bit much, so we'll find something not quite as bright. Well, that's still too dark. These highlights, you're generally going to want that edge to come across as pretty distinct. You don't necessarily want it to show up along the whole thing. I want that even a little darker. Don't be afraid to push it a little. Remember, at the very least, you've always got opacity on your side. If we bring that back up. And if we go too crazy, we can always bring it back down. And really up close, even when you're all done, might kind of look terrible. But if you look over here, that's why I always keep my navigator up here. What it looks like to the eye from that distance is really what you're trying to sell with your textures. Because most of the time that's how they're going to get used. So if we back this out, now that looks like wood paneling. So don't necessarily jump to say, you know, that's it, it's over, I'm doing terrible. Because you're not. Just keep at it and you'll be good to go. Just trust that process and you will end up with some great textures. Alright, that'll finish my work on this painted wood texture. I'm not going to go ahead and do anything like this. I did show you basically that, get rid of all this excess stuff here. Very similar to the wood pattern I did. We can quickly discuss the one thing that I did do differently here. And that is when I made my filter pattern right here, I did go in, since I made it so very straight, I did go in and use liquify. And I'll just show that to you quick. It's going to kind of mess this up, but you already know what to do. And I either used my forward warp tool to just kind of push things around a little bit, or I used this one, B for bloat tool. So that just kind of spreads things out. And that doesn't look anything too impressive with this big messy fiber texture, but it looks pretty darn good when you set up your fibers to be really straight. Gives you some nice wood grain. So there, even here you can see we're starting to get some cool information. Which also points out there's nothing wrong with taking some of these techniques and combining them and going back and forth in between. I will skip doing the bolts that I did over here because we did talk about bolts when we were looking at value. And I'm not going to worry about, the way I did these is basically what I did here. The only difference is, since I wasn't putting in highlights for these, I duplicated the layer, and then the original layer, I put a little bit of Gaussian blur on it, just so it wasn't a ridiculously sharp edge. But it still had a sharp edge in it, which was part of that kind of cartoony look. Now you can play around back and forth in between these two, and you'll come up with some pretty cool textures, and you'll probably come up with some stuff that doesn't look anything like mine, but still looks great. That's the beauty of it. Practice and play, and trust the process. Alright, that's going to cover it for wood, and I will see you guys in the next video.